And I'm not ashamed to admit those were my form of daddy issues.
As you guys are fathers, we all grew up, we millennials, so we had baby boomer fathers or either on that cusp. So I don't know about y'all daddies, but I know about mine. He is old school. So feelings, what are we talking about feelings for? Type of, all of that. So is there anything that you felt like you had to unlearn that, even though you love your father and he did the best that he could with the tools that he had, was there anything going in the fatherhood that you kind of had to unlearn as a generational curse as you went into fatherhood?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that. Why do you think I made that project? Did you watch it?
You talking about, yeah, the Sidney Poitier
That took
clip?
me 8 minutes to shoot, and then 8 minutes to put together. And I did it solely for I didn't. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know
Mhm.
if that's a question you put in the instructions. Didn't bother reading that. Um, but
Nobody does, but I just like to feel like a
I feel
professional.
it's so professional. You're
I
so.
did.
I didn't. I did.
Okay.
I didn't read none of that. I'm not reading this. I see the link. I'm going. All right. But no, I made that project. That's how I know, organically speaking, I made that project because if you were gonna give me an opportunity to talk about it, I was gonna take it. And finding that little bit that I did from that movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which is, an old movie. The most recent
Yeah.
remake of it was with Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher. Um, that whole little dialogue and that back and forth between Sidney Poitier's character and his dad about what a son telling his father how he feels, honestly, you take a little bit from that. You take a little bit from that as a man, and you realize that how you were brought about and the choices that you made, whether your father was around to influence them or not, um, we don't want to operate giving credit or giving that power to our fathers, in a sense. Like I think a large part of being a man now is one, forgiving your father or parents for what they didn't know, because I'm pretty sure if you're still here, they, hopefully did the best that they could do with what they had to get you where you needed to be. And so not holding any resentment against the people that brought you here for what they didn't know and how they treated you or how you grew up to be. And then if you're blessed enough to have that conversation, which I was in my adulthood recently with your father, about how his actions and words may have impacted your whole way of living. And I'm not ashamed to admit those were my form of daddy issues, is that I didn't really get too many "I'm proud of you" sons from my father, or the ones that I would have liked to have gotten, I didn't receive. And so it put me in a headspace of feeling like there's always something left to prove. And when you operate in that headspace, it can be both good and bad, and too much of it, you're giving credit where it's not necessarily due, because there became a point in time where it didn't matter what my father did or said or didn't say or do. I still had choices to make. And being a dad and starting a family and doing, going about it the way that I went about it, those are all choices I made. My dad didn't make those choices. And so my dad's never disrespected me or how I took care of my family, without getting too far off into my business. But he's never made me feel like I wasn't a man that was about taking care of his family. And if anything, I had to unlearn that I don't owe him anything, and it took forever to learn that damn lesson. Like, to finally unpack that lesson and realize you don't owe your father nothing. You don't owe anybody anything. the only person that I technically owe is the one that I put here that didn't ask to be here, and that's my son. And I'm just choosing to operate in that headspace. So if I'd say, to answer your question in a nutshell, that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned as a man being a dad. That, your dad don't owe you nothing.
All right.
That's a good one.
Yeah, if you get a chance to check out the project, I didn't see her asking that question, but I was like, I didn't know what I was gonna talk about on here. And so I was like, I had to find something to talk about. I was like, I don't want to get on here and have nothing of substance to say that I even resonate with. And that was one thing I could resonate with when it came to fatherhood.
Yeah. Oh,
Man,
go
man.
ahead. I feel like you already got it.
No, no, I was gonna say, my dad was a really good dad growing up. But if I had to just nitpick his parenting, it was, I would say, being too hard for certain things that I don't feel like he should have been that hard about.
Mm.
But he told me he loved me, not a whole lot, but he showed me he loved me. He loved me by loving me. You know what I mean? So
Pick the good
I could,
word too.
yeah,
Pick.
yeah, yeah. So I would think him, he could have said I love you a little bit more because I tell my son every single day, two or three, four times, five times a day that I love him, like all during the day, all the time, with no shame. I kiss on him at 13. He hated too. I'm all on his forehead, on his head, all of that stuff, just loving on him. And my dad loved on me too, the same kind of way, hugs and handshakes and daps and everything. But he probably could have said it a few more times growing up just on some affirmation, but it's really just being hard. My dad a hard ass. He a band director. He was my band director. He was my friend's band director, so we couldn't escape it, So it wasn't just a dad all the time. He was my dad and the band director. And I remember, he'll tell you one of our principals, rest in peace, Mr. Willie C. He was getting on me. He was on my ass too, tough on me, tough. And Willie C pulled him to the side. He was a superintendent. My dad, a band director, this is a superintendent. Put him to the side and was like, "Hey man, why you that hard on him? Like he ain't doing no more than what the other kids doing, and you ain't that hard on them." But he was like, "That's my son." He was like, "Well, he's not your son right now. He's a student."
Mhm.
So having my dad maybe scale back a little bit on being, but that also made me tough. But that's also one of my things. Do I fight with myself with? Am I being too tough on my son? Am I being tough enough, or am I being too tough? It's like a fine line, and I always think about that line because of my dad. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He makes me conscious of that line. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but I'm always thinking about, damn, should I say that? Man, I should have said more. I said too
Great
much.
though.
I fussed too long. That was a 10-minute speech. It should have been 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm always conscious about it because of me and my dad's relationship of him being on my ass so much growing up. But
Uh,
he wasn't strict though, so he'll be on my ass, and I can still go to the party, still hang out late, still do what I want to do. But I gotta listen to him now. He go fuss me out, and he go be on me. But I can still have my freedom and stuff too. So
yeah.
that's if
Not to cut you off, for the record now, I wanted to be known. My dad lit. My dad was super lit. I give my dad so much credit. Like he was very hard on me too. Very, very hard. But I appreciate him so much more now that I'm an adult. Like, and I meant to tell you, like, you picked the best word, nitpick. That's all we doing at this,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because we were fortunate.
yeah. We were fortunate. We were
Like,
fortunate.
you don't realize the difference until you actually. I didn't know the difference in men until I actually started dating. Like, oh, I was I was one of the lucky ones that had
Yeah,
his dad in his life. Like, regardless of how stern, how many times you might have got your ass whooped, whatever, however they went about it, if you lived through it, you were one of the lucky ones.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I swear I appreciate him so much for being that hard on me, because I get it. You know what I mean? And the words you chose with nitpicking, um, that's a good way to go about it, because our fathers did something that a lot of fathers of their generation just didn't have the courage to do. And that's, I always say our dads are the only men on this earth that truly want to see you do better than them. It ain't too many other men that you gonna
Yeah,
shoulders with that like, yeah,
man.
I'm cool with you doing better than being more successful, more handsome. I'm cool with you making more money than me.
Yeah, I
I'm cool
tell
with
my son that all the time, man.
your
I
dad
said,
is the
listen,
only
I said, I
one.
want you to be smarter than me. I want your wife to look better than your mama. I want her to be smarter
Man,
than your mom. I want you to have
that's
more money than me. I said,
okay.
I'm gonna be the only person, and your granddaddy is the only person that you gonna feel like that about you. So
Man,
when I tell you something, know it's from coming from the best place. And I think we have a strong enough relationship to where he understands that now. But you say that's it there. That's that one. That's that one, bro.